Hey everybody, week 10 of the NFL season is here. Last week was very disappointing for myself. I was 6-8. Before you say what you are, I've got a few FUs. FU to the Raiders. Embarrassing having Denver come in there and just whip up on you. FU to Philadelphia. I had a chance to beat the number one team in the league. The Dirty Trombones, all Mike Vick and McCoy had to do was get their freaking projected points. No, I laid a big egg. St. Louis, you had that game wrapped up and
gave it away.
You gave it away.
You blew it!
You pass on an opportunity to win the game in regulation. I mean, we're sitting here watching Red Zone all day. All I see is 48, 49, 50-yard field goals going in left and right. Now, granted, they had the one block and a chance to win in overtime, but still, you passed up on that opportunity.
And if you knew you were going to go for it on fourth down, then why not do a play-action rollout? Do something, because they had 11 guys in the box, and you run the same stinking play on fourth down like it's going to work this time.
Yeah, and granted, 98% of the nation didn't even see the game because there were some good games going on at the time. But still, just those a couple games right there, just really embarrassing. And, it just blows my mind how that you can have home teams like that go in there and just have it handed to them. And then you still have games like a team like St. Louis that just desperately needs a win and you pass up the opportunity to do it. But anyway, how did you do last week?
I'm not as upset as you. I was 9-5 last week.
Yay!
68, 57, and 5 overall. So
my overall being the description. I didn't even want to add it up. I was so pissed.
You're somewhere down there.
I'm above 500
you're
still.
Above 500, yeah. And both my lock and my upset hit last week, so that was good.
Yeah, my lock was St. Louis. I went from my upset was St. Louis.
Your upset.
And they should have won. Oh,
yeah, that'll teach you.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get started. It's Thursday.
They win one game and he's on the bandwagon.
I was on the Kool-Aid. The Kool-Aid was just flowing here. This week, Thursday night game, we've got San Diego at home against Oakland. Everything in the world, if you look up past histories, when these rivals, they're rivals, get together. Oakland should cover this 7 points, no problem. But without Run DMC, McFadden being in there, San Diego put up a shitload of points last week, even in loss. And granted, they gave 14 to Green Bay too, but I'm going to go ahead and take San Diego. 7 points. I just don't think Oakland has the weapons to keep up with them.
Yeah, I'm taking San Diego in this game also. Like you said, without McFadden, Palmer, he says he's still getting used to the offense, but he looks like the same Palmer to me. He's got to get 2 touchdowns, 2 or 3 interceptions. That's what kept Denver in the game. I like San Diego after the tough game. Actually, the last 2 weeks they've had tough games. Yeah. Kansas City and against Green Bay. I like him to come out and really make a point here and win this game and cover.
Next up, we have Pittsburgh going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been wonderful this year with the spread.
Wonderful. Good
they
word.
have been,
That's
and I haven't been with them. I just didn't believe it. But I'm not going to pick them this week at home. I am taking Pittsburgh. The one time that they did not cover against the spread was a loss to San Francisco. Mm-hmm. A very defensive-minded team, and I think you're going to see a lot of the same from Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh in the 3 points, I'm taking it.
Yeah, this game you've got the number 4 and number 5 scoring defenses in the league. I don't expect it to be high scoring. Even though you've got to think Pittsburgh's going to want to come out after last week losing. They've got the veterans. I like Cincinnati here. I know I'm kind of like you. We've gone against them most of the year. Not that we hate them. Maybe you do, but
I don't know. I don't hate them at all.
It's a young team still, but I'm going to take them to cover 3 here.
If anything, I'm jealous of the team that they put together so quick.
Mm-hmm.
You think about what they've lost and what they've gained so quickly, and and here we are crying about a 3-point loss to Arizona, or a 6-point loss. Yeah. Next up, we have Kansas City at home against Denver. Kansas City looked not very good last week after their big win against San Diego the week before. Denver, what you're going to get is running. You're going to get a lot of Tebow, not passing, but on the ground. I'm going to actually take Denver to cover the 3 points right now. I just don't think, after what I saw from Kansas City last week, I don't think they're going to be able to stop Denver and what's his face, McGahee.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Denver to cover the 3 points.
Yeah, Kansas City did not look good last week, but I don't think that's going to be the team you're going to see this week. You got Denver, the number 31 scoring defense in the league. They're the number 30 passing defense on the road in the league. I look for Castle, Bow, Baldwin. I look for them to have a big game. I like Kansas City to cover 3 here.
Next up, we have Indy at home, still going for the Lux sweepstakes. Jacksonville comes in there as a 3-point favorite. Indianapolis has scored 24 points in their last 3 games. That's not very good. And Jacksonville's actually been in almost every game they've played, despite having a very similar offense to Indy. But I'm going to go ahead and take Jacksonville to cover the 3 points at Indy because I think Indy is all about getting luck right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to put much thought into it. I'm taking Jackson until Indianapolis can show that they can actually play a game.
Exactly.
Which, the first couple of weeks they actually had 1 or 2 where they played decent, but I'm taking Jacksonville to cover. I look for Jones-Drew to have a good game.
Next up, we have Dallas at home hosting Buffalo. Dallas is a 5.5-point favorite. I just do not like Dallas. I mean, for some reason, especially without Miles Austin. They've actually got a running game that's been going a little bit. I still look for Buffalo to come in there and be able to slow down Romo. With the interceptions, I just don't think Romo's going to be able to overcome his shortcomings of being not a very good quarterback. He's now my new Mark Sanchez. So I'm going to take Buffalo to cover.
I'm taking Buffalo also. I like Dallas to win the game. 5.5 points to me is a lot. Dallas is 1-4 at home against the spread. Buffalo had a bad loss last week against a Jets team that actually, for the first time, showed up and played defense, I think, this year. I look for Buffalo to rebound and cover 5.5.
Next up, we have Houston going to Tampa Bay. Houston is a 3-point favorite. I really like what Houston's doing just all over the football field. Still without Andre Johnson. Look for Houston just to put that ball into Arian Foster's hands and win this game, and I think they win it very, very easily. So I'm going to go ahead and take Houston to cover the 3.
Yeah, Tampa Bay in the last 3 years are 6-18 at home against the spread. They just don't fare well at home. I like Houston, like you said, between Tate and Foster. I like them to run the ball, control the clock, and cover 3.
Yeah, and Schaub's still a good quarterback. I think he's like second tier, but I think he's like the leader of the second tier. So.
Right.
Next up, we have Carolina at home, a 3-point favorite over Tennessee. Carolina is the best team with the worst record. Tennessee just has not shown me much at all yet this year. They're 4-4. The teams they've beat, one good win against Baltimore, but the other teams are Indy, Cleveland, and Denver. And that was when Denver was really, I think Denver's actually showing some signs of improvement. Yeah. And so, I mean, Tennessee's really not beating anybody. And going into Carolina, it's going to be tough. So I'm going to go ahead and take Carolina to cover the 3.
Yeah, and Carolina's confident by, they're going to be prepared for this game. With Tennessee, you never know which team's going to show up. For the first time, though, you actually saw Chris Johnson actually put up over 100 yards combined. Yep. Rushing, receiving. Maybe he's coming out of it. They got a weaker schedule later on, but I like Carolina to cover the spread here.
Next up, we have Miami at home against Washington. Miami is favorite, 3.5 points. The half point scares me, but Washington has just not shown. They're regressing since they put it back in. I'm actually going to go ahead and take Miami to cover 3.5 points, though the half point scares me a lot. So yeah, I think you're looking at a 3-point game.
Miami 0-7 the last 7 home games against the spread and straight up. Kind of worries me. But you're going against Washington. Washington has a good defense. It's a solid defense.
But, so does Miami.
Yeah, in Miami's defense is playing better. But like you said, Beck at quarterback, no Santana Moss. I can't take Washington. I got to take Miami after the way they looked last week.
Not on the road with Washington. Next up, we have Atlanta at home against New Orleans. This is actually a pick'em game. I am going to go ahead and take Atlanta. Atlanta has really turned it around after their slow start. New Orleans has been up and down. I mean, New Orleans is going to be able to score, but I think it's going to be tough for them to go into Atlanta, even though it's a dome. And take a victory there. I look at Atlanta at home to actually just go ahead and take care of business and win this game. It might not be pretty, but they're going to win it.
Yeah, I like Atlanta also. You can see what a difference Julio Jones made in that offense. You've got 3 big-timer threats with Gonzalez, White, and Jones. And then you add Michael Turner to it. New Orleans 2-8 last 10 road games against the spread. I like Atlanta to cover and win.
Oh, let's see. Next up, we have Chicago at home, a 2.5-point favorite against Detroit. These teams met 4 games ago, I think, and Detroit got the win. Since then, in their last 3 games, Detroit has been outrushed 244 yards, and Chicago's actually outrushed their opponents by 258 yards. I'm going to go ahead and take Chicago to cover this game, or cover this spread. It should be a very close game, but I'm going to take Chicago to cover.
And the big part of that difference is Javid Best has not played. He's been out. The one stat I like, you've got Detroit, number 6 road passing team with 287 yards a game. Chicago's number 29 at home against the pass, averaging 294 yards given up. I look for Detroit to be able to throw the ball. I like Detroit to cover this spread, and I like Detroit as my upset pick to win this game.
Yeah, I
offense, right?
I actually see just a lot of Forte in this one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I mean, they're just going to, I think, try and keep that ball away from Stafford.
But I think the one thing you saw in Philadelphia was Cutler did not get sacked against this defense. I don't know if that's going to happen. And if you get pressure on him, that's when you have the turnovers.
Next up, we have Cleveland at home hosting our St. Louis Rams. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I have not picked a winner in this yet. The Rams have actually scored 51 points in their last 3 games, and Cleveland's only scored 28. You know, I really think the Rams defense can slow them down, but I'm scared with freaking, and actually, if you look at the stats, freaking A.J. Feely's actually not actually performed as well as Bradford, but it just doesn't seem that way in these games. But I tell you what, right now on the spot, I am going to take the St. Louis Rams to go into Cleveland and win this game.
I'm going to take St. Louis too, and here's the reason why. You have no Montario Hardesty. You've got no Peyton Hillis. If you become, I think their running backs are going to be Chris Obanaya, who used to be with the Rams as like a third string guy. If you make a team one dimensional and have to pass, which Cleveland's not known to be a renowned passing team, I look for the Rams defense to be able to shut them down, and I like the Rams to cover here.
Yeah, a new center for the Rams this week. They're starting
Tony Raggy.
Yeah, but still, you're going to see a heavy dose of Jackson. Hopefully that works.
Mark Clayton's activated.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll get much play. I think they had to activate him or put him on for the year. So I think that might have been a move just to make sure that he'd be ready for the rest of the year. But hopefully we'll see what happens. Next up, we have Philadelphia, 14-point favorite at home against Arizona. We differ on this one. I'm going to go ahead and take Philadelphia. The home team in these meetings has been 4-0 against the spread. Come on, Mike. Win a game, damn it. Dirty Trombones need you.
Why do you say we differ? I took Philadelphia.
I thought you were saying Arizona covered it. Oh.
Here's the stat I threw out. In the last 9 games, Arizona's been a dog of more than 9 points. They're 7-2 against the spread. Well, that can be damned. It's Philadelphia. They're at home. They looked terrible last week. I look for them to run all over Arizona. If Arizona barely beats St. Louis, how are they going to look against Philadelphia? I like Philadelphia to cover, and that's my lot.
Do-or-die game for Philadelphia.
We've been saying that for weeks.
Yeah, I know, but this is actually it. Yeah. I mean, they cannot lose another one. Right. Next up, we've got Baltimore going to Seattle, 6.5-point favorite. I'm going to go ahead and take Baltimore. I think they've had one hiccup in the last 4 weeks. Seattle, even though they're at home, give me Baltimore in the 6.5 points.
If Cincinnati can beat Seattle 34-13, whatever it was 2 weeks ago, I'm taking Baltimore to cover.
We got 3 games to go and 1 minute to get there. I got San Francisco covering.
Is that a song?
I think so. San Francisco, 3.5-point favorite over the Giants. Should be a really good game, but I'm going to take San Francisco to shut down Eli Manning.
I like the Giants. Even though everything points to San Francisco, I like the Giants to cover here.
Next up, we got the New York Jets at home against New England. Another good game. 1.5-point favorite for the Jets. The Jets are 4-0 at home against the spread this year. I really think they'll be able to shut down, good Lord, Tom Brady. I couldn't even think of his name. Tom Brady's not looked right. Give me the Jets.
Jets defense finally woke up. I think they're going to do it 2 weeks in a row. I like the Jets to cover.
Next up, you got Green Bay at home against Minnesota, 13.5 points. I don't care if it was 21. Give me Green Bay. They are the Packers. They are awesome this year.
What were speed here or something? Minnesota's 8-3 against the spread at Green Bay. I don't care. I like Green Bay to cover 13.5.
That's it. We'll see how you do. Let's watch some Thursday Night Football. See you next week.
Take care.